Hi there, and welcome to episode 10 of a GIM Story. I want to try something different now, and every episode I'm going to try and start and finish with some clue scrolls that I've been collecting up either through AFK activities or doing Slayer or something like that. So, as you can see on screen now, I got the Sleeping Cat from Easy Clue Scrolls, but 341 collection log slots so far, and I want to try and just maximize doing that. So, now again, obviously completing another book. I think that was the last Amarak page I needed for the book. So 90% of those are completed as well, which is great for the account. I can obviously pass over any spare pages into our shared storage. So off the back of last video, completing the Western Hard diary, I wanted to go ahead and go to Pest Control and complete the Elite Void set, as I already had Standard Void with all the helmets. So I wanted to go back, get enough points to complete Elite Void and green the collection log, as I was quite close. I needed the mace and I believe the token or the seal that is helpful in the minigame itself. So I made about 104k actually from just grabbing random bits and pieces together, which is very strange that I made that much from something that I wouldn't consider as a good money maker. I did go there in the beginning of my account to obviously make some early GP along with getting a good armor set. But here you can see me going up to the Elite Void Knight, making sure I go through and paying all the commendation points in order to get the Elite Void, as that's going to be a fantastic option for using it in things like Vorkath, as I believe it's one of the best in slots to go there and use that. It's going to be great when I go head back to Zulrah, because I can then do a one-piece gear switch for both mage and range, rather than trying to worry about multiple gear switches, as I'm not quite experienced enough with doing that sort of thing. So after this, what I wanted to do is really put that trident to use. So I was going to head back to Barrows, and as the video title suggests, I wanted to get myself all the way up to 500 KC. So now that I've got the Elite Void as well, I sort of had a switch up with my gear that I was taking. So it was taking the full Elite Void, as well as the Fury, a bit of prayer boosting from my Rada's Blessing, Major Arena 2 cape, the Trident of the Seas, obviously fully charged at the beginning, and using the runes from subsequent runs to recharge it. Book of Darkness, Explorer Ring, full Elite Void with Mage Helm and a Range Helm in my inventory, Infinity Boots. Then for the range, which I was just taking the Crystal Bow, as it's just been sitting in my bank since I used it for Monkey Madness 2. And then I haven't really been using it. So I thought, it's got loads of charges on it. I'll just use that for a one-piece gear switch or two-piece gear switch into range. I then have the Abyssal Whip for getting the KC up and the for the reward potential. I take obviously my spade, one prayer potion in case I get either Darok, Arim, or Carol as my tunnel, because you may need to pray against them. Stop yourself eating tons and tons of food. I take a rune pouch with lore and dust runes so that I can get back to the house, recharge my stats, and come back to Barrows. Then I have a spot taken up for each of the runes, GP, and bolt racks that you may get as a reward if I potentially go over that reward potentials in order to get them. If I then get elite clues, I'll be teleporting out and trying to do them as many as I can. And then also, if I get items or I need to restock food, teleporting to Camelot, because I can do that straight from Barrows, restocking, go back to the house and go back. So at the start of this grind, I had 224 KC with 14 Barrows pieces, several dupes, and about 30.8 million in total loot value. So what I wanted to try and do was complete maybe a couple of sets, get a tank body. But for now, enjoy all of the KC.
Every time you come back, it's like falling down these lies again. This feeling that I have deep down inside. I just wanna be the one you need. And now I need you by my side. I can't sleep at night. Let's get lost in time. Leave it all behind. I can't get enough of that. I'm enough. Let me be the one for you.
With froze, cold night and the winter hot cold. Sorry that I fall away sometimes. Sorry that I fall away sometimes. Yeah, yeah. The end. Got to end it all on the weekend. Sorry that I feel that way sometimes. Sorry that I feel that way sometimes. Oh, oh, yeah. You don't really wanna know me. Hanging in the corner with a nosebleed. High on whatever they sold me. That's the old me, yeah. 6 years later trying to find me. Still trying to figure out the mind piece. Looking for the love inside me.
So I was just doing some AFK fishing, trying to use up the 100k cram 1G that I fished, and I got the heron at 3 million or 3.5 million XP. So it's another skill and pet down. We may have to obviously return to Temporus at some point to try and get the mini temper for the other fishing pet. But that's another skill in pet, and we got that at 85 fishing. That's pretty quickly, so I'm really happy with that. I think it's quite a high chance from Quran ones anyway. So yeah, no, great, fantastic. So we'll be rocking this for the time being.
Sometimes, don't know why I feel that way sometimes. Yeah, the end. Think how we can set out on the weekend. Funny how I kinda like this life. Funny now I kinda like this life. Now I like this life.
So here we are coming up on our final Barrows chest. 500 KC in the bag, no item unfortunately, but I still think we've managed to get a great amount overall. So what I'll do is I'll teleport back to the house. I've now restored my stats, and then what we'll do is we will go through all of the loot from 500 KC. I know on average it takes about 1,000, 1,200 KC in order to complete the log, so I don't think we've done that this time. But what we did manage to achieve out of the 1 in 15 chance, which should have been about 33 items, we got 31. So we're slightly under drop rate, but it's not the biggest deal. Out of the 24 possible uniques, we managed to get 15. So plenty of dupes, which is good for my other group members. So I've passed over those, but only one tank body, which is something we did want. So it's not great in terms of that, but we have got one at least. But a few sets that I did want to try and complete would have been Darroks, Guthins, and Verrex, because Darroks, Giant Mole, Verrex for going into the wilderness, or maybe even KQ, and Guthins just because, you know, it'd be great utility for us to extend out our supplies. But 57.5 mil total value, that's another sort of 27 million on from what I had before, so plenty of runes for us to use. So as I promised at the beginning of the video, we'll open some more clues now. Start with the beginners, easies and mediums. Nothing ever really that major that's going to come out of those until one day when we manage to re-roll on the medium table, medium boot table. I managed once to get 2 climbing boots G, and that's been it. Nothing from the hards as I expect, normally just Alkin items. We do get 1 collection logs item for the shared, the Holy Blessing. I think that leaves us with 1. And then we got something that I've never had to do before, which was the Mimic. So what I did was gear up in full mage with my Elite Void with a DDS, plenty of food, plenty of prayer, and went in to try and kill it. This was the first sort of thing I saw on a simple guide on how to do it. So I know that the Mimic has a standard melee attack, so you protect from melee. Then there is also a raining sweets attack that you just have to try and avoid the sweets so you don't get damage from those. And then the Mimic also spawns a third range melee, range, and magic NPC that you can kill. But I think from most of the things that I looked at, it was just avoid them, try not to take any damage from them. So as you can see here, I've sort of tried to get away from the mage and range, and then it was just really the melee that was close to me, but obviously I've got protect from melee on, so it's pretty good. So it was just a case then of, after dumping all of the DDS specs, of just hitting the Mimic with my trident. I don't know if my DPS was great. I don't think it was the best it could have been, but again, I've not got the best items. You know, there could be people going in with the Timken Shadow, a Scythe, anything like that would probably be more effective than my little Trident of the Seas. But we did manage to get this KC, which is the first on any account I've ever had. I've always had these enabled, just never got a drop of one. So there you go. You see there, we get the combat task. We've got 5 out of 5 remaining loot rolls and a 1:04 kill. We pick up the mahogany plank for good luck. Leave the instance, and then we will be opening that casket. It is only an elite, so it's not going to be possibly as good as opening a master. We open it and we get a bonus of 600 death runes. Nothing bad. You know, death runes are always going to be useful for us. We can recharge the trident with it and everything else. So what I then wanted to do is make sure I'm still geared up in case my last elite gave me another Mimic. It didn't. Another blessing, a few bolt tips I can alch, but nothing great. But for now, I hope you enjoyed all of the loot from Barrows. But that's it for this episode. Until next time.